Great day, kings and queens. Welcome to another conversation with Drew, where it's an honor to come to you guys, on this wonderful Wednesday, to be a blessing, with my gift that God has blessed me with, and to share, his knowledge, wisdom, and experience and understanding that I believe, will continue to bless us, continue to grow us, evolve us, cultivate what it is that's inside of us so that we can be the best version of ourselves. I wanted to speak to you guys briefly about forgiveness. And as I transition in my life and as I've gone through things in my life, I've seen the importance of forgiveness. And we have such a hard time with this one piece right here because of our experiences, because of the things that we have experienced. Great morning, Queen. Because of the things that we have experienced, we have such a hard time forgiving people. And it's so important that we understand this principle of forgiveness, because once we truly get to the place of understanding of how important it is to forgive, our lives will begin to open up in such a greater way. We'll begin to receive things that were created for us to have, but the unforgiveness is blocking a lot of our blessings. The unforgiveness is blocking a lot of the things that God is trying to release. And I'm not just talking about monetary things. I'm talking about relationships and resources. We are in a place right now where we're having such a hard time forgiving. It's so mind-boggling as well, to see, as people call themselves believers, that they have the hardest time, and they are the ones that's having the hardest time of forgiving, when we're taught that that's what we're supposed to do because God forgave us first. And so we have to understand that it's not a thing of forgiving the person and we say that we condone what they've done to us, but it's a thing of, when you understand the principle of forgiveness, you realize that when you do not forgive and you're living in unforgiveness, that you're literally drinking your own poison. And when you are not forgiving and unforgiving, you have to realize that you're doing more harm to you than someone else. And so all this time that you're holding this resentment in, all this time that you're holding all this anger and bitterness in, all this time that you're being unforgiven, that is going to hurt you. That's what you'd have to understand, that the thing that someone may have done to you or someone may have said to you that caused you to be angry and upset with this person and being unable to forgive, it is literally holding you back from going to where it is that you're supposed to go in life. You have to grasp this, people, today, because I've seen the detriment of it. I've seen the harm of it and how it has affected people in their everyday life, and they don't even realize it. It has affected you in the way that you conduct yourself in friendships. It has affected you the way that you conduct yourself in relationships. It has affected you the way that you conduct yourself just on a regular basis, because you have not forgiven yourself. You have not forgiven yourself. You have not forgiven the person who has caused harm to you. You are seriously walking in a place of poison, truthfully, because you have to understand that this principle of forgiveness, it releases something in the earth. It releases something in the atmosphere that causes you to be able to walk in the fullness of who you are. God knew that it'll be people who come by and who will harm you. God knew that it'll be people who are in your family that will harm you. God knew that it'll be random people that may have said something to you or done something to you. And he knew that the principle of forgiveness will be so necessary, because we as people have disrespected God in so many ways. We as people, as his children, have disobeyed God in so many ways, but he knew that the principle of forgiveness would be so necessary. And it started with my own life. It started with me being able to forgive my father, who was never there. It started in my own life to forgive, my friends who turned their back on me. It started in my own life with me having to forgive people, who done me wrong or said ill things about me, who spoken bad about my name. It started with me having to forgive them first, being able to truly forgive. Why? Because I understood that regardless of what they did, regardless of what someone may said, regardless of what someone may have even thought, the reality of it is that It does not impact or affect who I am and who God says that I am. The only way that it does is when I hold on to it. So when I was holding on to all those negative things that people said about me, I was becoming it. When I was holding on to all of that abandonment, I was becoming that. And so because I was abandoned and because I was holding on to that, it made me go into every friendship, every relationship, afraid to allow myself to be vulnerable. And so therefore, it affected my relationships with women. And so I dogged women and I was a womanizer, all because I was secretly afraid of being abandoned because my father wasn't there. So I thought that everybody would do it like my father did. I love you too, Josh. And so that's what I had to understand, is that I had to first forgive whoever it was who done harm to me, because here it is, I'm drinking poison. So every situation I'm in, every relationship I'm in, every friendship that I'm in, I'm literally coming in poison. And that's what you have to understand, is that when you forgive somebody, you're not doing it to say that, man, you cheated me, you lied to me, you manipulated me, therefore I'm forgiving you and I condone what you did. No, you're not doing that. You're saying, because I understand how powerful this principle is, because I understand that it is a law from my father, because I understand that if I do not forgive you, that I am carrying baggage, I forgive you. Now, if you choose to still be friends with that person, if you still choose to communicate with that person, if you still choose to be in a relationship with that person, that's your choice. But understand that the only way that things will progress and move forward is by forgiveness. It is a principle. It is literally a principle. I'm telling you, that's what so many people think and believe, that if you forgive somebody, you condone what they did. And that's not what it means. That's a lie. When Peter asked Jesus, he said, if one of my brothers or sisters sin against me, he said, how many times am I supposed to forgive them? 7 times? He said, no, not 7 times. He said 77 times. Why? Because this thing called forgiveness is an everlasting thing. He said, keep forgiving each time. Keep forgiving each time. How does a person learn how to become better? How does a person learn how to grow in the fullness of who they are and a mistake that they made towards you if you cannot forgive and love on them? So many people want to throw people away. So many people want to kick people to the curb. And what you don't realize is that those people who made those mistakes, they are not their mistakes. They're ignorant in that area of their life. They're ignorant in that realm of where they're operating at. But when you forgive them and you love on them, it causes them to see something that they've never seen before and experience something they never experienced before. That's why it says, agree with your adversary quickly. Why? Because he said it'd be like heaping it'd be like heaping coal upon their head. If they're thirsty, give them drink. If they're food, give them food. Why? Because what he's saying is that they cannot mentally fathom that. It will drive them crazy to be able to agree with someone who done you wrong. Everybody else responded and reacted negatively. Why did you love me? Because I forgave you. I forgive who you thought you are. I forgive who everybody said you are, because in you I see truth. In you I see love. In you I see self-control. In you I see joy. In you I see peace. Even though you may not be able to display it right now, because we all came from the Father and we all have his Spirit. Therefore, when I forgive you, I forgive myself. That's the principle. That's understanding. So therefore, as you sow, so shall you reap. If I'm able to forgive you when I make mistakes, because I'm a human being, that gives the power to somebody else to be able to forgive me. You have to understand the power of forgiveness, because if you don't, you will carry this jug of poison around, and you will poison every situation that you come in contact with, kings and queens. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. Have you forgiven your son's father? Have you forgiven your child's father? Have you forgiven your child's mother? Have you forgiven your ex-husband or your ex-wife? Have you forgiven your children? Have you forgiven your friends who said bad things about you and done you wrong? Have you forgiven your supervisor, your co-workers? Have you forgiven your mother or your father who let you down? Have you forgiven your exes? Have you forgiven the people who've done you wrong? If you have an opportunity to call them people up, if you have an opportunity to go before them people, go into them and ask for forgiveness and watch the power of God move so powerfully in your life, so abundantly in your life, and make such great change. You have to do this, kings and queens, man. I'm not telling you to do this because I want something from it, man. I'm telling you to do this because it'll help you become the best version of yourself. What's holding you back right now, kings and queens, is an abundance of unforgiveness. An abundance of unforgiveness. And you're dragging so much stuff along, and it's causing you to go out into the earth and poison every situation that you're in. Or, well, I didn't like the way that my parents was coming at me, so I'm gonna go out and be an adult, and I'm gonna go out and be independent. And so you're moving out of anger. You're moving in unforgiveness. So then whatever you try to produce is going to be bad fruit. I promise you. I didn't like how he did me wrong. He cheated on me. He lied to me. So now I'm going to go out here and get something better. I'm looking for something better. I'm looking for something better. But you're moving in unforgiveness. So then when you go into another relationship, it's automatically going to be toxic and poisonous. Automatically. Because you have not forgiven. And you're walking around with so much resentment, so much hatred, so much bitterness, so much anger. Do you not understand that all of those are contrary to the laws and principles and the functioning of who you are because of God? Therefore, if that is the case, then you are malfunctioning. Resentment, no, he says forgive. Hatred, no, he says love. Bitterness, no, he says be empowered, be encouraged, be happy, be loved, be joy. So automatically, if you are from God, and this is what God poured you out of, he poured you out of the imminence of love, out of the abundance of joy, out of the magnitude of who he is, then therefore you cannot operate opposite of that. That means you will begin to malfunction. Those are principles, kings and queens. I'm telling you. That's why it's not working right now in your current relationship. That's why it's not working right now in your current business transaction. That's why it's not working right now in your current friendships. That's why it's not working right now in your pursuit to be happy, because you have not operated in the functionality of who you are, and that is forgiveness. How could Christ walk with Judas, walk with Peter, two people he knew? One would deny me, the other would betray me. How could he walk in that, knowing that it was going to happen before it happened, because he already forgave them? That's how. How could Paul, Uncle Paul, he was a killer. He killed believers. And when Christ did what he did before him and to that man, how could he then go on and save so many lives and be such a great leader? Because he first had to forgive himself. Do you understand why he always talked about the mind? Be not conformed to the world, but be ye transformed by a renewing of the mind. Set your mind on the things above and not the things of the earth. Allow this mind to be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus. Why he had to keep talking about the mind? Because Uncle Paul was going through it for all the things he did from his past. So he knew that he had to keep redeveloping his mind every single day and forgiving himself every single day, because he knew the detriment of forgiveness, of unforgiveness. So what I'm saying to you today, kings and queens, is that if you have done someone wrong and you still have a way to contact this person, reach out to this person and ask for forgiveness. But first and foremost, forgive yourself for the wrong that you've done to people, for the wrong you've said to people. Why, Drew? Because he says, whatever measure you use shall be measured back unto you. So if you use the measure of full forgiveness into yourself, people will fully be able to be healed from the hurt you've done and forgive you in the same. And I guarantee your friendships, your relationships, your partnerships, all of these things will become better by first you forgiving yourself and then asking people to forgive you. I promise, man, you need this. You need this to become the best version of yourself. You have to understand that I've done wrong in my lifetime. In these short 32 years, I've hurt people. I've manipulated people. I've lied to people. I've deceived people. I've cheated people. And so I had to forgive myself first and then go to these people and ask for forgiveness. People, this is an important principle, man. I had to come to you guys this morning and share this with you because I understand the importance of forgiveness. So many people are walking around and they wonder why nothing is succeeding because they have never forgiven themselves. You have people out here prostituting right now because they've never forgiven the person who molested them. You have people right now who are in abusive relationships because they've never forgiven their father or their uncle who molested them. You have people right now walking around in so much bitterness and anger because they've never forgiven their ex-husband or ex-wife. You have people jumping in marriage after marriage, relationship after relationship because they've never forgiven their ex. You have people afraid to go into business right now because they've never forgiven their last business partner. You have people right now that cannot move on in life and become the best version of themselves because they cannot forgive the worst parts of their lives. I'm telling you today, kings and queens, that you have to forgive. You have to forgive. Whatever measure you use, it shall be measured back unto you. And so therefore, if you are walking in unforgiveness, you cannot expect people to forgive you. And forgiveness is one of the coldest and biggest and best principles in the earth right now. Just because it did not work does not mean that it won't work again. But the only way that you walk in that fear and that doubt and that worry and that anxiety is when you do not forgive. Bottom line. People walked out of your life, that's okay. Forgive them. Forgive them. Forgive them. Please forgive them. People lied to you. Forgive them. Please forgive them. I forgive my father who was not there in my life. I forgive my exes who walked out of my life. I forgive my children's mothers who in any way may have hurt me. I forgive the people who done me wrong and said bad things about me. I forgive them, Father, because I know that if I do not forgive them, no one will forgive me. I forgive those who lied and slandered my name because they didn't know me. I forgive them. I forgive those who have done wrong to me, who have brought harm upon me. I forgive them. I forgive those who will do future harm to me, who will do future wrong to me, who will lie and slander on my name in the future. I already forgive you because I understand the importance of forgiveness. I understand the importance of truly forgiving someone who was ignorant in their ways. They just didn't have the knowledge. They didn't have the understanding, so they couldn't apply it, which is wisdom. That's okay. I forgive you. I forgive those who introduced me to drugs. I forgive those who showed me how to be a manipulator and a deceiver and a liar. I forgive you because you were ignorant and you thought it was the right thing to do. And so you taught me wrong. I forgive myself for allowing myself to go down that path, to be taught how to be a liar, to be taught how to be a manipulator, to be taught how to be a deceiver. I forgive myself. I know that I was a great son. I would have been a great son to my father. I forgive you, Father. I forgive you, Pops. Because if that's the thing that's holding you back from being a father to me, I forgive you. If that's the thing that was holding me back from being a great father to my children, I forgive me. But you have to understand the importance of this, kings and queens. I'm not saying this to sound good. I'm not saying this just to use my gift in any way. I'm saying this because if you do not forgive, people will not forgive you. And if you are walking in unforgiveness, you are malfunctioning because God poured you out of the cup of forgiveness. He knew that you would make mistakes. He knew that you would sin against him. He knew that you would rebel against him. He knew that you would walk in ignorance at times. He knew that you would hurt other people. He knew that you would lie to other people even though he created you in truth. He knew that you would let other people down even though he knew that he built you in building people up. He knew that you would harm people even though he caused you to heal people. He knew that you would sit here and lie even though he made you out of truth. He knew that you would backstab people even though he taught you to stand in front of people and lead. I'm telling you, forgive yourself and forgive other people, and your life will be absolutely amazing from that day forward. God bless you guys. I love you guys. You are absolutely amazing. That's why this is a wonderful Wednesday. You will be blessed in your forgiveness. You will be blessed in forgiving. You will be blessed and be everything that God created you to be by becoming the best version of yourself. And this is one of the components, forgiveness. I love you guys. God bless you guys. Share this video with at least one person, even if it's the person that you want to ask for forgiveness. I love you. God bless you. But remember, it's not a look, it's a lifestyle. Because we do this every day, not to impress people, but to leave an impression on the earth. Peace.